breathe out what we need. We breathe out what they need. Your blood is of essentially the same salt content as the ocean. Think about that. You're related, the tides of your blood are like the tides of the ocean. Interesting. You and a chimpanzee share all but 1.5% of your DNA. Our DNA is 1.5% different from the chimpanzees. Yeah. Even more enlightening to me was 26% of your DNA is the same as in a banana. Isn't
I know
that?
it. That's saying on the
We
internet.
are related to everything. Now, I spoke of human consciousness as being different. It is a form of energy, any form of consciousness is. It's not better, it's different. We have crossed from created to creator. So far as we know, no other animal or plant can do this. Many animals and plants exist on an intuitive level. They do a lot of things that humans can do because it's born into them. We learn. But we can create. We can create new ways of being. We can create books, art, drums, whatever. And therefore, we are close to being what we have in the past called gods. Think about that. Again, in the Christian Bible, in one section of Genesis, Yahweh speaks to them, whoever them is, and says they cannot have access to the tree of life and death, for they will become as gods. Now that's the King James translation, but there must have been something to say that. We now have a great, we're coming very close to access over life and death, and we are responsible. We have to continue taking the responsibility. Another Einstein quote, the intuitive mind is a sacred gift, and the rational mind is a faithful servant. We have created a society that honors the servant and has forgotten the gift. Our intuition, our psychic levels have not even begun to be explored. That's how silence. Margaret Mead said something many years ago that I really love. And I don't apologize for bringing everybody else's thought into this. We need all we can get. She said, I salute you as the evolutionary life force of the universe. Change entered the world with you. You have the burden of freedom. And we do. And we've never used it yet in a positive way. We are all faced with a series of great opportunities, cleverly disguised as insoluble problems. This is the time. We are the people. Let's look at change. I like the word change makers. Recently I was in not an argument, but a thread on my Facebook thing with the fact that I put up a story of a black man and a white man, and the white man was the cop who stopped the black man driving who was speeding. But the black man wrote about it and said what an interesting and positive experience it was, how they were able to talk to each other like this. And a friend said, but that's not real. That's only one person. Look at all the damage that white people are doing to black people. No. And I answered it, and she answered it, and I answered it, and it kept going on. She refused to consider the fact that noticing the positive helps it doesn't alleviate, but it helps to strengthen. You are energy workers, you know this. There's a damn lot of negative energy in our world, way more than we need. way more than vowels. Anytime you exert positive energy, it is helping the whole. So don't hesitate to do the feel-good stuff. Don't hesitate. At any rate, my granddaughter would not post this, but she wrote an answer saying, my grandmother's 72 and she's been a change maker all her life. And we've got to recognize that we have the ability to affect change. Am I boring anybody?
Absolutely
not. It is thought out and expressed in full belief and knowledge it is possible only if you make it so. Only if you make it so. And you've got to. Love is a verb, it's not a noun. Vision is not only a noun, it is a thing you actively do. The single most radical thing you can do, grow your own food. How many people are in a position to grow food where they live? Okay, good. Yes, I've seen history. I haven't seen his place but pictures. All right, if you can't, connect with people that you can trust who are growing food because the time's going to come when the grocery shelf will be empty. And if they aren't, the food that's shipped from California to Pennsylvania has lost a lot of its, and besides, much of it is altered by hybridization with maybe fish. I don't know, really weird stuff. Pete Seeger, many of you are too young to know what I'm talking about. I won't go into that, but you could ask me later. Pete said once, probably more than once, if there is a human race in 100 years, it will be because we have learned to value survival over success. Money rules the world. Money is an inanimate object. The people that have it have power over everybody else. But it isn't real. It isn't real. What's real is this ground, these trees, you, the birds, and the little gnat that was on my shoulder. And we've got to get over success as being the measure of anybody. We have to value cooperation rather than competition. This really upsets Nigel when I say competition is an inhuman activity. And he's played team sports in his youth, and he was a fencer, and competition is good. No, competition fosters animosity.
Yes.
Competition leads to somebody thinking they're better than everybody else. Yeah, a faster horse will get you there quicker, so you breed the fast. A human being that is taller than anybody else can throw a ball further. What does this mean? What does this mean? Compete with yourself, yes. Compete with your own work and say, I can do better, I can do more. I can smile more at people, I can open doors, I can cross the street and help somebody. And bigger things than that. Compete, if you will, with what you have done before. Now, we must remember the world we came from, in a way. We must remember that what we came here to manifest. We came here to manifest is love. Came here to mutate and lead to mutations and that kind of thing. Now, I seem to have run out of what, I skipped something here. May I go back? Sure. Can I have that?
Absolutely.
Oh, here it is. Tape recorder, you can breathe now. No, it's all right. Clarissa Pinkola Estes. I have an article that she wrote that is named "You Were Born for This," and I want us to just touch on some of what she said. Do not lose heart. We were made for these times. I know so many people are bewildered and upset about what they do. The media imposes silence on anything positive because it doesn't sell. Okay. Recognize that. What you see on your television, what you read on your computer is not real. It's picking out the scariest stuff because people will believe negative quicker than they believe positive. Do not spend your spirit dry by bewailing these difficult times, especially do not lose hope. We have been learning, practicing, been in training for, and waiting to meet this exact plane of arrangements. This is what we're here for. It was supposed to be this way. Somebody else was in charge of it, and they got us in this situation. Don't hate them. They were doing for your good. It's hard to live with. In any dark time, there is a tendency to veer toward fainting over how much is wrong or unmended. And this was what was going on my Facebook thing. This young woman she just couldn't see anything beyond what was the terrible race relations. Not nearly as bad as it was 50 years ago, 60 or 75. We are much better off. Being raised in Birmingham by a rather unusual set of parents, I did not come up with a lot of racism, overt racism. I was fortunate. Many people did in my time period and in the area. But it never occurred to me. It's like learning how to be nude in a crowd. It never bothered me. I must be weird. Really strange. All of these things that go against everything you've been taught, if you just open yourself up to the possibility, it's all there. And it's another form of freedom. It's another form of freedom. Do not focus on that. We are needed here. That's all we have to know. We are needed here and we are supposed to be here. Ours is not the task of fixing the entire world all at once. Relax. You don't have to make it all over. That's not your job. It's not any individual's job. It's the job of succeeding generations and more people becoming awake. That's where we are. Waking up to our own potential and to the potential of our species. Something special. Not because we're better, not because we're the dominators, not any of that. Because we can create. I said this a while ago, but remember it. What makes you special is you can create and recreate things closer to the heart's desire. You've got to hold your vision in front of you, but you have to continually put will and energy. Okay, we're magic workers. How do you work magic? Is it turned off? Okay, that's okay. That's okay. We got part of it. How do you work magic? You decide magic is an act of changing consciousness according to will. Okay, if you want to change something, you've got to do that. You've got to totally focus on it and accept that you may not see the results, but it is happening. All right? Now, I think probably it's time for me to quit with this and give you a time to talk to me. I have one more thing, but I want to do it at closing. Anybody have any ideas of how to do what our job is? Yes. Speak up, because I'm deaf.
Okay. Pulling from what you just said, You mentioned freedom, and you mentioned responsibility. Freedom plus responsibility is the concept of liberty, which goes back thousands of years to the ancient Greeks and beyond. When we're responsible for ourselves, minding our resources, taking care of each other, stewarding the planet, the elders teaching the middles, everybody teaching the young, everybody being brought up in a cultural tradition. If culture is not your friend, it's your enemy. And
Yeah,
right
it
now,
does seem that way, doesn't it?
and right now, culture, dominant culture, is everybody's enemy. It's the planet's enemy.
Yep.
So we need to change the culture, changing the muscle between the temples, change the culture, embrace liberty, every individual embracing liberty.
Would you like to travel with me and say that?
I would love to.
This is an expression, exactly the kind of thing we're talking about.
And I think that's the first footfall on the path to that ultimate solution.
Yep.
Is bringing back the idea of liberty.
Well, it is good, and we do need that. We've got to move, however, from the personal to the group. And this country was built on independence. John Wayne, he's out there leading a solitary life until he's needed, and he rides in and solves the problem and goes away. Can't do that. Nobody's going to get through this alone. When there was a real rash 20, 30 years ago about getting ready for everything and locking yourself in and surviving. Nobody's going to survive by themselves. Nobody can exist by themselves. Can you mine salt? Can you make a bicycle? Can you fix your stove alone? We've got to move into community as the ideal, not the individual. That's going to be hard for some people.